So here we go. This one we're going to look at clearing some space and dividing up frequencies a bit better, sort of sharing things out, finding where the energy for each instrument is first and distributing the frequencies so that things are a little less cluttered. This is all important before you start hitting compression. I think this just makes the compression stage a lot less stressful. So in the first video we've retuned the kick and the snare to have some sort of pitched focus. In this one we're going to go into look at the bass, because the bass and the kick are both needing frequencies. So we can see from the kick that there's a focus at 55 Hertz for the particular key of this tune, which is A. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the bass sound and I'm going to dig a little out at that particular frequency. Now you've got to be careful because if you dig too much out you might lose some of the important, the bass might play that note. It's likely to play that note, isn't it, if it's in that key. So but what I can do is just do a cut at that 55 because it's sort of lower than where the bass really needs that energy. If you solo that up, 1 second, you'll hear, and 1 second. So there's the bass, that's with that out. It's losing a little bit of low energy with that cut out, but it's not missing the fundamental of the bass. So that's what this boost here is all about. This is a compensatory boost around the frequencies that we've cut. So it's kind of pushing the energy back in around the frequency, the specific frequency 55 that we want to cut, which is the one to the key. Now with this EQ you can highlight both of these together and you can push or pull these against one another, which is quite useful to find the right amount. So although we're cutting 55 Hertz, I'm boosting everything around it. So just by creating a bell at 55, slightly wider than the one that has the cut, and then you can hear that the bass still maintains enough of the energy in that zone, but you'll hear straight away when I bring the kit back in that this has helped to sort of focus the kick and bass energy. At the minute they're a little pappy and just blurred. But now I've got a bit more consistent and controlled energy. There's a couple of other cuts here. There's also some bass information available to sort of pull out the octave up, which is this one here. I think if I take some more out the octave up, I get a bit more of the texture of the kick drum. So there's a 55 cut, there's a 110 cut. And again, there's sort of like, I don't want to sort of take away from the bass tone. So this particular boost here is to counter that sort of thing. This, if I listen to it, that's just a wide boost around all of the notes that the bass is using, the fundamental of all of the notes that the bass is using. So when I put that on, it sort of plumps the bass up a bit to compensate. There's one last cut from the bass, because again there's some low frequencies in the snare that need to punch through into this bass zone, and that 138 is exactly the same as the 138 on the snare. So again, if I do that in the bass, take that one out of the bass, all of a sudden the impact of the snare is just a bit more potent in the bass tone. Let's switch all of these off and back on again. You can hear it, but it's not quite as clear as if I put these EQs on, especially when the track is all in. One other quick thing, it's often quite important to take some of the snare energy out of the guitars. I think we can find that there's like some impact for the kick as well, around about 800. So that's what this is all about, this one here. This focus here isn't really needed in the guitar, I'll show you. maybe I've been a bit too greedy there, but certainly when this is in, this helps the snare and the kick cut through. Essentially it's the impact information, but again we can push this back in around this cut, we can make it more specific and create a boost on top. Like I say, I can join these two together and there we go, that's that one.